Hi guys, welcome back to the next part of this vlog. I am going to be talking about auras today and going in depth. If you do see me looking down at any time, it is because I am looking at my notes that I have heavily taken over the years, and I put them collectively in here so it makes more of a conscious thought. So our first question is going to be, what exactly are auras? Auras are going to be 7 layers on the outside of our body which have different densities. The more dense they are, which will be more mass, is the more seeable that they are. The less dense that they are is less mass, and the less visible that they are to the naked eye. This is where you're going to see me look down a little bit at my note. So there are 7 layers, and the 7 layers are the physical and etheric. That's the first layer. That is the one that is very uniform to the body. That's the one that typically people will be going into to be able to pull electromagnetic currency to understand your chakras and to also understand the people who are coming to you from spirit. Then there's also the emotional body, a mental body, which has a lower capacity and a higher capacity. The astral body, spiritual body, and also the celestial body. And the last one is the causal body, which I like to call the universal connection because causal just sounds a little funny. All of these layers are made up of one, which is yourself, your higher self. All of the layers have different densities, as I mentioned, and the more that they go away from the vibration of the body, the bigger that they get. The biggest one is that causal, and again, that's the universal energy that kind of expands outward to be able to interact with everything that is going on around you organically, and it goes very far. That's also how a spirit on spiritual side can find a channel and come directly in, and the closer they come into the channel is how they communicate back to that medium or that telekinetic or somebody working within energy as well. These are all studied and made up of the electromagnetic field that is around us. You all know that our bodies are made up of atoms, and atoms are the particles of electrons, protons, and neutrons. As human beings, we're those electrons, and whenever we pass away, we go into that electromagnetic currency field and surge for the highest frequency. And those highest frequencies are going to be higher vibrational emotions such as want, desire, love, empathy. And whenever we have those, we go gravitated to that, and that's why I always tell you guys, your loved ones live side by side with you. Now, that electromagnetic currency around us, that force field, which is all of those auras, is basically the life force of also something called chakras. And then if you guys are curious as to what chakras are, please check out the spirituality for beginners in my bio. It has a playlist, and I'm going to be entering about chakras over there. And there should be like a link up here, or there should be a link that's going to be posted down below to get there as well. So I think it's very well said on something that I learned whenever I was doing philosophical type of research, and I'm going to read it to you guys because I think it's just perfect the way that it is. So the energy in our auras reflects the energy in our chakras, but the aura also reflects the influences of other energies around us. And basically what that's just telling you is the fact that how the auric field around us really is the life force of the chakras, but also it affects everything else too. It's drawing in energies from outside sources, so people, places, things, animals, all of that can really truly influence your mood, your health, the way that you're interacting with others. And that's why they tell you that it's really good to commonly try to get your aura assessed or healed periodically. Typically, if you're really in spirituality and you're really working, getting your auric field kind of patched or really healing your aura, especially with meditation, is really good to do maybe about once to twice a month if you're working in spirituality. And if you're not working in spirituality, it's really good to assess at least once a month. A common known factor about energy is that energy will flow wherever the attention is placed. And that's why intentions and intuition is very important with energy, is because your intuition is something that organically in that causal layer that we were discussing before, which is the one that expands and it is universal energy. That one there is telling you specifically like, hey, watch out, hey, I like this, that kind of thing. And that's why the intuition is very important. However, whenever you have the intention as well of placing energy somewhere, like saying, for example, I am abundant, I am prosperous. If you're going to keep placing energy there, your mind is going to primarily focus on how can I be abundant and how can I be prosperous. And so your intentions are everything. And for some of my viewers, you may be wondering, well, T, how do I heal the aura, or how do I start sensing the aura? And sensing is just the fact of being able to visually see the aura, and then also sometimes people are not a visual individual, but they can feel. So if there's two ways that you can interact with the aura, which is that feeling and also, or which is the sensing and also the seeing. And so the best way to understand it is by developing each sense individually, you're going to be able to sense the aura even higher. And whenever I talk about the senses, I'm talking about those clairs, which that will also be a very in-depth, detailed video that would be placed into that playlist I was mentioning before, which clairs are a little bit more of an advanced activity, but we're going to get into those. And so those senses are the hearing, the feeling, the smelling, the touching, and the tasting. There's 7 that I know of so far, and the clair senses is the sense of communication to all beings and energy around us. Okay, now clairvoyancy is going to be the seeing, and then clairaudience is going to be hearing, clairgustance is going to be the tasting, and then clairsentience is going to be the feeling of it all, and claircognizance is the knowing, and clairalliance is the hearing. We do all have a prominent type of clair that we're born with that naturally, organically is just who we are, and that's typically where you want to start to kind of develop the senses, but you can learn all of them very well. It's basically like training a muscle, but over time, not just doing it all at once. So learn your prominent one, and in that clairs video, I'll be teaching you how you can be able to learn that prominent one and then develop off of there. Now, the smell and taste are normally prominent, and they're very active for a lot of individuals. So if you're having those being your most prominent sense, learn those tastes or learn those smells. For me, if I start smelling something very fruity or citrusy, it means that something is interacting with my emotional layer, and that I know that I'm going to be going through some type of emotional roller coaster, or I'm going to feel really, really good that day. It just depends on how the smell comes in. If it's fast and overpowering, then I know that it's going to be an emotional roller coaster. If it's something that's subtle and it's smooth and I like the smell, then I know that I'm going to be elevating in energy a little bit. Another way about sensing the aura is imagination and creativity. You really want to be able to work on that imagination within your mind, trust in what you believe to be your truth. And that's really hard to do sometimes, just because of the fact that we have societal pollution. And the best way to do that is write down anything that you really trust and want to be able to see in your energy, and start pushing out that societal pollution and focus on what you believe in. And that's going to be what's called mindfulness. Now, the last bit, how to be able to patch and heal the aura. You can do several things. You can go to a practitioner, such as myself, and get mentorship on how to do so. Or you can go to the practitioner and then you can just have them heal it and patch it for you. Or you can also do it very much yourself. The most key aspect is to learn as much as you possibly can about the aura, so that you're not going in and messing up anything. But then also another key aspect is doing meditation. Meditation is the most beginner-friendly type of healing on anything. It could be emotional standpoint, your mental health, chakras, auras, shadow work, inner child work, pretty much any type of meditation that you're wanting to do. Put it into YouTube and put shadow work meditation, inner child work meditation, and it's going to bring up some really good key aspects for you, and it's going to be very beneficial. Commonly, our hands are the first thing to start interacting with auras. We'll start feeling a tingling sensation. And also, I like that what it says here, to develop a more conscious connection, it is good to close your eyes and feel the aura. So a good practice that you guys can do with this video here is, I want you to put your hands out in front of you like this, kind of bend your fingertips inwards like this, and just sit for a while. And feel the energy. Now, if this is too far away from you, go ahead and come in closer. Now, the further you can get away with your energy and feel that tingling sensation is how much your energy is actually growing, how in tune you are getting with your energy. And soon, you'll be able to kind of expand your hands out very widely, and you can feel the energy bouncing back and forth as if you had like one of those mittens on and you're bouncing the ball. But I just want you to hold your hands out in front of you like this, sit for a good while, and just, you can either stare at them, or you can kind of just like be very in tune with yourself, close your eyes, but you're gonna feel that tingling sensation on the tip of the hands. I hope that that's kind of something that you're excited to do, because it's one of those physical things. So that is what I want to give you guys about auras. I hope that this was really good information for you. I can't wait to see your commentary below, and stay tuned, because I am going to be going into chakras next. If you're excited to learn more about the aura and practice, please join me on my workshops located on my website.